Welcome to Biemethia vs. Zalga's Den, but with a twist. This time my dad's playing Biemethia, because Bie's his character, and he's using the build that I set up last time I ran through playing her. So this is a chance to see how he can do with the build I created. It's new to him, so he's still getting used to it a bit. What I'm going to do is slow the fights down as we go through them so that I can talk about what's happening. So here we start. Rushes in with some light attacks, but he's not in range. Switches to flying daggers, which is great. Tries a light attack, not in range, flying dagger. The heal, I think, might have just been a button mispress, because then he switches to Steel Tornado, which is great. You can see some of the crabs get interested in me just because I'm standing there, but the Steel Tornado is huge and easily able to get them back. And for a fight like this, it pretty much is just spam Steel Tornado, although Dad makes a good choice, and when he's faced with just one foe, switches to Flying Dagger again. Flying Dagger does hit harder, and it grants the Major Brutality buff. He even remembers to do Repentance, which hopefully helped a bit. Probably could have done that earlier. It's difficult, I find, to remember to do Repentance during a fight, but that's really kind of the best time to do it. So now we have the crocodiles. He started off with an aim shot, but then immediately went to bombard to keep them in place. That one crocodile that's nearby is a little close for my comfort. He switches to aim shot, does more damage, and does an armor break. The other crocodiles are getting close, but bombard keeps them in place. Again, that's a little closer than I'd be comfortable with. I'd want to be backing up a bit. Remembers to do Repentance, which is good, because all that bombarding certainly took a lot of stamina out. Then there's always figuring out which way to go in a new dungeon. I know there's the snake coming up. I said, oh, look, there's a snake. And he shot the little one over there because Mom hates snakes, and Dad wipes them all out for her. So he starts out with an aim shot, which is great because that provides an armor break, and it does a lot of damage, but doesn't do anything to immobilize the mob. And as you can see, the snake's able to get in range, do a tail slap, take off about 25% of Bie's health. Still not out of range. Does a dodge back, which is good for getting distance, and the bombard locks it in place, but still pretty close. Excellent timing on the venom arrow there to interrupt the healing. Another aim shot or two. It's down. Now here he does something a little strange. The snake's already dead, and into the air goes a luminous shard. Not sure if that's just marking a victory spot. More likely it's just a mispress on the buttons. Then waits for that to finish. It's better to do Repentance right away because you never know when the bodies are going to fade. But through that, full health, everything's looking pretty good. Here we've got our next set of crocodiles. Now with a cone, the game will let you fire the cone off even if there's nobody in range because it's not specifically targeting anyone. So those first few bombard shots hit nobody, but they still cost stamina. The later bombard shots did lock them in place. You can see the crocodiles aren't moving anymore, or weren't. But because they were so close, as soon as they were able to move, they were able to get in range. Almost 30% of her hit points gone. Switches to daggers, which is great for melee. Goes into Steel Tornado spam, which is great. But getting kind of beat up there. Still, she's got enough damage to get through. And with Repentance, it all comes back. All her hit points are back. Happily, I'm able to loot all these bodies too, which is nice. So now we're up to the big snake. Or the second big snake, I should say. Starts with aim shot. Nice for an armor break. Follows it with another one. Bombard, locks snake in place. Again, it's still pretty close. A little scary there. Bombard and bombard. Just getting hits with the focus aim and the venom arrow. Lets the snake get close enough that it can start hurting her. And this time I actually do manage to get out of the tail swipe. Now Bie's in a difficult position here. Backed up against the rocks, there's nowhere that she can retreat to, and her dodging options are limited. One possibility would be to dodge through the snake, dodge forward, and that can get you out of cones pretty easily, but you see she's not able to do that. In melee, so she switches to daggers, which is good, and the snake just drops. I can't see where her stamina is, but I'm guessing it's probably on the low side, only because that was a lot of attacks to get through the snake. Fortunately, it's a bit of a run to get to the next one. Open up with the flying dagger, which is great for major brutality, and the flying daggers just do good damage. Also, I think they reduce the enemy's speed, because the snake's coming in very slowly. The downside is they don't stop the snake from moving. That was kind of a strange call. The snake gets into melee and Bie switches to bow. Usually for melee you want your daggers, or if you switch to bow, it's to use bombard to immobilize it and then get out of its range. You notice there was a knockback there. If you interrupt the snake, you could sometimes knock it back. The shards finish it off, but in this particular build the shards aren't great for damage because it's a stamina build and the shards are magicka based. So now we're up to the Lamias. If I remember correctly, Bie's waiting on getting stamina back at this point. And that might have been why Dad switched to the shards. If Bie was out of stamina, then they at least offer a magicka-based damage option. So in Bie goes. Steel tornadoing, which is great because you can see the Lamia is just lining up around her, and they're all down to about half health now. Dad does something I rarely remember to do. Hits them with an ultimate, and down most of them go. Steel tornado spam, taking out the last one, or second to last one. There's still one left who's really interested in me. I'm trying to give Bie time to do stuff, but when I drop to half health, I'm thinking that's not so good. Figure Bie took out almost all of them. I can finish off the last one here. Teleport strike and concealed weapons, and down it goes. Just to show that I can make mistakes too, I needed healing, so I used sap essence with nobody around, then realized I was on the wrong bar and swapped and got my shield, and that's all there was to it. So you can see, even with an unfamiliar build that doesn't quite match your playstyle, you can still get through things like this. It just takes a little patience.